In this video, I'm going to show you how to open an existing Visual Basic project and also how to create a new Visual Basic project. So I'm going to start with creating a new one, and then I'm going to, once I create it, I'm going to show you a little bit about the environment. On my screen, you can see I already have some recent things that have been opened. So once you create something in this Open Recent, you can just, double click on it and it'll open the compiler with your code in it. But I'm going to come over here to create a new project, and I just want you okay, well, let me come over here, create a new project. And you can see here I have recent project templates. This is because I've already done this, but what you're looking for is a Windows form application. So once you do this once, you should be able to just choose it here. But for the first time, you're likely going to have to scroll through this list to find this Windows form application and click on Visual Basic and next. And then you can give this project a name, and you can give it a location. So I have, let me just see here, on my desktop, I think I have a folder, right, called VB Files. So I'm just going to put this here. Place the solution and project in the same directory. I would recommend that. And you can see here, if I choose this off, then I have to give this a name. And if I have it selected, I don't have to give it a name because everything's going to be in this folder. And I'm going to create. So this is just going through the process of creating your project. Okay, so this is what it looks like, and your environment might be a little bit different. I already had set this up the first time, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the environment and what windows you really need to have open. So on the right-hand side, you'll see this Solution Explorer. If you close it, or if it's not there, so I'm just going to close it. And if you come back up here to Windows, oops, hold on a second, not there. Under View, you can get the Solution Explorer back. So under the View menu is really where, if something's not appearing that you need, you can do this and you can get it back. But this will actually show you the name of your project, and this is actually your Visual Basic code. You'll see the extension VB here. Down on the bottom, because we are creating graphical user interfaces, you are going to need this Properties window up, and this will just be the properties of your form and all the controls that you put on your form, like text boxes, labels, and buttons. And over here, what's also helpful is the toolbox. So I would probably recommend just opening that and pinning it, right? You just click on the pin here. This is probably the best setup that you can have to for Visual Basic. And what this does is it creates your form, and up here you'll see this tab, form1.vb. This is the design of the form. And then if I go into View and I click on Code, this will show me the code for the form. Now this form is empty, so I don't really have any code in it now, but you'll see the code here. And then you see you can kind of switch back and forth between the design and the code. So that's kind of the basic setup that we want to use. And I mean, I'll just show you like a quick little demo here. If we want a button, we'll just drag the button to where we want it on the form. And some of the topics that are covered, like in the introduction, you'll see when you select, like the introductory chapter, I'm sorry, The button, you'll see the properties of that button over here that you can scroll through. You know, just briefly, you'll see like the text. I could come in here and the text says button 1, but I could go in and I could change this property. And so you'll see over here it says click here, and up here maybe my button's not big enough, so I can, you know, resize it if I want. So it says click here. And if I look at the code, I still don't have any code in here yet because I haven't done anything with the button. So that's the best way to set up your environment the first time. And now I'm going to talk about what if you have some existing an existing project that you want to open. So I'm just going to close this solution and I'll save it. Okay. So this is what I just created. So the next time I go in, I can just, you know, double click on it and it'll open everything right back up the way I left it. If for some reason you don't see the design and you don't see the code, like if these are closed, you just come to the Solution Explorer and expand this form1.vb and you click on it and that'll bring back here, you'll see this is the code, and then I can do view and I can do designer, and that brings everything back up. So again, the view menu, if you lose your Solution Explorer, right, or your toolbox, or you can't find them, or they got minimized, this is really the place that you want to go back to. In the previous step, I had you install the files from this class, from the textbook. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to do file, close solution, okay, and just going to close right out of this, right, close right out of Visual Basic. Okay, so you know, I have this folder VB files on my desktop, and this is the source code that I downloaded from the textbook. So I've given you the instructions on how to do this. I'm going to go to chapter 1, and in here, right, I have 2 files, controls demo and wage calculator. If you want to open up the files from the textbook, you know, here I'm going to click on controls demo. This is the solution file, which will open the whole thing up. And I'm just going to come in here for a second. Okay. This is the file that you need to look for, SLN. I think in some of the examples, it's actually right inside the folder, not outside the folder. I'm not sure why it's like that in chapter 1, but in most of the other chapters, everything's inside the same folder. And we kind of just saw that process when you created the solution. So I'm just going to click on this SLN, and you'll see it says over here. Let me just expand this, you can see it better. Visual Studio Solution. And when you double click on that, you might not get this message. I think I have an old version out there as well on my computer. So and now you'll see it's going to open it up from there. So this is the controls demo program from chapter 1, which I'll be talking a little bit more about in the learning module section. Okay, so that's how to open the compiler, how to kind of get things set up, how to create a new project, and how to open an existing project.